welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we are going to talk about romance and your heart, but not from the romance standpoint, from keeping your heart alive standpoint. My guests are from the Health Department, Megan DeWitt and Irene Ferrainolo. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
You guys come around to remind us this every year when February rolls around, but we really need to think about it all year.
Right.
Heart disease is how prevalent?
Well, it's the #1 killer, sadly. Bad way to begin. And,
Nobody, I
for
mean,
the United States,
take
yes.
it seriously.
Yes.
It's very,
yes.
very
and,
serious.
And in their lifetime, 1 out of 3 people in the United States is going to be diagnosed with a cardiovascular disease. And in most cases, that will be the cause of their death. Not immediately necessarily.
Right, it can take a while,
yes,
but still
right.
leads to.
Right. And we're particularly interested in talking about women in heart disease because although the percentage of people dying from cardiovascular disease in men has gone down significantly over the last 25 years, it's not moved much for women.
We weren't really on the needle really for a while. I mean, people knew it was there, but it's the silent killer, right?
Right. Well, yeah, that blood pressure is always has often been called the silent killer. I think that the difference for women comes a couple different ways. One is that the signs and symptoms of heart attack in a woman are not exactly the same as men, and the classic image of grasping your chest and the elephant on your chest, that is not always the case for a woman experiencing a heart attack. A woman's more likely to feel the pressure maybe lower or closer to abdomen and will cause brush it off as reflux.
Right. I wouldn't think
just tense or
because there's a lot going on down there anyway half the time. A lot of nerves, a lot of stress.
Men can experience dizziness and nausea too as well, but women are more often likely to have those symptoms, and again without the huge crushing pressure of that elephant on their chest, and are less likely to then react. I think it's the traditional of women putting their family and other concerns first.
Right.
There's a bit of denial in there as well. Mm-hmm. But there's also an increase, they think, in just the incidence of heart disease in women because the lifestyles and our daily life of women has changed. And so certainly stress is a big factor in that.
Well, it is. Let's be honest. We are the caretakers, and most of us also work full time.
Yes.
So
definitely.
we go kind of straight from taking care of our kids
Sure.
to taking care of our parents while juggling a full-time job and a house. And men have increased their roles in those regards, but studies, surveys tend to show that it's not a 50-50 deal yet.
I was going to say, give kudos to the men.
Yes,
that
absolutely.
A lot of them have really stepped up, but the primary responsibility for keeping all the balls in the air still seems to fall to the woman, and of course we all know that. Most of us know, we know that obesity rates in overall the United States have gone up, and that's probably one of the biggest risk factors that's contributing to an increase in heart disease and diabetes.
It is hard. You know, I wear the little step counter and I do great on the weekends, but at work when I'm at my desk, it's really hard to get that exercise in to keep moving.
Oh, yeah.
And as more of us are in, we don't work on the farm anymore, we don't have as much physical labor, we're in the, sectors where we work at our jobs, whatever they call the creative economy.
Right.
We don't move.
No.
It's killing me. It is killing me, literally, probably. That's what you're here to say.
Absolutely. Well, Megan has become more and more involved with chronic disease control programs that the Health Department's been offering. I don't know if you've had a chance to talk about those.
We've talked about some. We've actually done a couple segments on here about our diabetes program, different things like that. But they basically teach the same thing about lifestyle choices. I mean, it's a long-term commitment, but this is your life that you're talking about. So it's very important for women to understand what their risks are and that they are at risk, and they need to know what their risk factors are and take charge of it now so that they can prevent heart disease later on.
Well, so what are some of the things, and all of these interrelate. I mean,
Oh, yes.
you know, heart
Definitely.
disease, obesity can bring diabetes. I mean, you've got it just a cluster
Right.
of
Right.
problems. So
Right.
what are some of the things we can do to reduce our risk?
Well, the first thing that I would encourage all women to do is to make sure that they have what's now being called their well woman visit, but their annual exam every year.
That is one thing. I think, you know, women put that off.
Well,
I know I do.
I know. I know. And once a woman is not concerned or has not worried about contraception or childbearing, where you almost are obliged to
kinda
go
have
to
to,
an annual visit, they often just stop going for that visit unless they experience some kind of problem or crises. So we're doing everything we can at the health department. We've been offering periodically a free women's health screening. We have one coming up in February and one coming up in March.
So people should call the health department
please
if
call
they're
the health
interested
department,
in that.
especially if you don't have insurance, because that's who we're hoping to offer that to. But during the well visit, most women think about getting their breast exam, their pap test, and then a mammogram if one is appropriate. And because we seem very focused on cancer prevention, and rightly so.
Well, it's an important issue that affects primarily women, so I think it's in the front of our brains,
Right.
whereas some of these other things like heart disease are not always.
Right, and yet heart disease does, in fact, take more lives of women than breast or cervical cancer combined every year. So, and any part of the well visit that affects your cardiovascular health is going to include blood pressure check, blood work that'll assess your cholesterol levels, your triglycerides, and your glucose levels. And of course, those are indicators. All of those factors, if they're not at the right level, are very strong risk factors for heart disease.
Okay, so checkups that help us monitor those indicators are important. What lifestyle changes can we make or focus on trying to make? Incrementally.
Diet and exercise, diet and exercise.
Yeah, I know. You guys feel like that's what you say all the time, right?
Yep. Yeah, she's right. Diet and exercise, making those healthier food choices. If you smoke, stop smoking.
That is huge. I think people think smoking lung cancer, but they don't make the connection to smoking and all the other health problems that it can cause.
Nicotine over time, it narrows our arteries. It depletes the oxygen source to our vital organs, including our heart. So it's extremely important to not smoke.
Nicotine can also, people who've switched to vaping might think that they're doing their lungs a favor, and it's still not great, but it might be not as bad. Or people who are on a patch, but if they're still on nicotine, it's narrowing their arteries.
Absolutely.
I didn't realize that, Megan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the e-cigarette has been an interesting challenge to public health and health educators, because it can be a help to someone trying to quit smoking.
It's a little better than smoking.
But it's becoming a replacement, not a tool for quitting.
And not just that, new people are starting who maybe wouldn't have started smoking.
Right.
With the false impression that this is safe.
Right.
This is a safe alternative to tobacco use, and we don't know that it is.
Okay, so get our blood pressure checked and our triglyceride level and all that, cholesterol.
Get your blood glucose checked.
Blood glucose, okay.
Because that's the indicator for diabetes or pre-diabetes. And in fact, all of the levels for hypertension or high blood pressure, cholesterol, and diabetes, in the medical world, there is now new categories for all those called pre, because they've been studying it long enough to know this was normal. It used to be this is normal and this is a diagnosis, and now there's an area in between where people really emphasize in the medical profession and public health, because you can still do preventative things there to keep the disease, to stop the disease process or to control it.
And some of those might be medication, but sometimes in that pre area, we have a chance to really make those lifestyle changes and not have to go on medications, which can be beneficial but also have side effects and other complications.
Right.
So if we can do it with diet and exercise and other lifestyles choice, you know, sometimes being scared into that pre-diagnosis is what motivates people. I mean, I hate to say it, but
it's true.
That is exactly the word I was going to use. Was that it can become a great motivator, and I think that's why when we do a blood pressure screening or when we have one of our Well Women Days and we see levels that are that you can talk then not about, oh dear, you're sick, but here's what we can do to keep that from happening. And hopefully not too much emphasis on the scare, but that is a motivator. It is. Well, nobody wants to take medicine and nobody wants to be, I mean,
we all want to be around when our kids graduate from high school and college and get married or whatever happens. You know, we want to be here and we've got to keep that. So whatever we're doing day to day that we think is so important that we can't make changes, we've got to have that long-term view of we want to be here.
Right. Yeah, and thinking of changes in our lifestyle, we also really like to emphasize that it doesn't have to be a massive, I'm not going to ever eat carbs again. You know, that
that's me. You're talking to
or
me.
I'm going to go 5 days to the gym. You know, that it means that 15 minutes out of every day you do some type of physical activity, even if it means walking your dog.
You know, dogs are a good motivator.
Oh,
they're a great
because
motivator.
they say, you know, however long it takes to make something a habit. It doesn't take dogs that long. I walk my dog 2 days in a row, and he's there in my face every day going, let's go now, it's time. You do this every day, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's been very good for me.
Same thing with diet changes. You know, if you just decide I'm going to try to switch from sugar, regular Coke to Diet Coke, and then from Diet Coke to not having a caffeine beverage, or I'm going to drink this much water and not 8 water. You know, if you're at 0 water a day and you think now you're going to drink 8 glasses a day, just and have it sit there on your desk. Or
bring it. I know a lot of people in City Hall who bring a water bottle with them, and they'll drink one, and then they'll fill it up, you know, at lunch or whatever, and drink another. And it's just that reminder, you know, it just sits there, and they look at it, and
So set small goals and just build upon those as you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Say when you think about foods, again, just first of all, and again, some of these messages, people are like, that again? Please eat breakfast. That will get you going. And I think a lot of people miss it because our lives are very busy.
Right. It's easy to just run out the door with your cup of coffee.
Right. Or grab anything that you can find. But any study that's ever been done about weight loss or maintaining a healthy weight will always tell you that the folks who are eating breakfast are getting much better results than the people who are not.
Well, if you let yourself get super hungry, I mean, I do. Maybe this isn't universal, but once I get super hungry, I can eat and eat and eat before my brain registers, you know, that I'm full, that I've recovered, and that is always too much. And then once you eat and eat and eat, you're like, oh, now I'm hungry again in 3 hours.
Right.
It just starts that cycle.
Well, yeah, because when you're ravenous, then you do start eating much more quickly than you might otherwise, and much less thoughtfully. Because
eat slowly. That's
slowly, and because then you'll just grab whatever's available, and you'll keep eating, and you're well past satiation, but your brain doesn't get that message for a while. So the more slowly you eat, and the more thoughtfully you eat about and think about what it is you're eating, the better chance your brain has a chance to catch up to this.
That's right.
So there is a delay there, unfortunately. But so that I think is a change you can make without even actually changing your diet. But again, small changes. I mean, look at what cereal you're using and think if there might be a better choice.
Something with a little more fiber, a little less sugar.
Right.
Absolutely.
Work on that balance in small. I think that's important. You know, people start the year making all these wonderful, I'm going to change everything kind of things. And really, if you gradually, I mean, that's how I got off sodas. I went, well, I had diet sodas all my life, and then I would reduce and finally switched. I had to get the sparkling water machine first because I didn't like plain water, but still, you know,
well, congratulations.
all those changes add up. But you can't turn the clock and go, boom, I'm a different person.
No.
It's just not going to happen
And I
for
hope you
most of us.
gave yourself a good pat on the back when you achieved that, because there's people don't celebrate even small changes.
Oh, no,
like
I know.
that.
I'm looking for the next one, but I'm still not good enough at X. You know, it is
Yeah.
hard.
Right.
We
Yeah.
all look at the big picture.
We're also hard on ourselves.
We are. I think that probably is the other thing about women. I don't know if men are too, but
I can't speak for them.
I see
but-
everything that's wrong
But
about
oh,
me. It's,
absolutely,
you know, none of
absolutely,
the other
and I
stuff.
think that's absolutely right, absolutely right.
All right, so we need to recap. If there's anything we've missed first,
Okay,
and then I'm going to try to recap so you can
Okay.
see what I've learned.
Okay.
You guys are health educators. Let's see what. So during February, which is Health Month, is a good time to take stock. Remember that annual checkup to monitor your blood pressure, your sugar levels, your cholesterol levels, and make small choices to make your health better for your diet, for your exercise. Just look at what you're eating, make healthier choices, and keep your heart around so you can continue to take care of others and have those romantic relationships in the future as well as right now. Thanks for watching.